Well, hello, crime stuffers. Of course, I'm going to be talking about silver. Oh my, we're going through history right now. Um, Looks like it's true. There are some places where sold out and no bid. How can it be? I haven't confirmed this, by the way. But what does that mean? That means that they don't have any silver to sell and they're not buying any silver either. The market's still broke. But it's not broke yet. It's not broke all the way yet, but I'm telling you, we're getting close. See, and they have an issue. And see, I do math. I do math. I play with the math. I play with the Austrian economics. Um, Unlike a lot of guys, it appears, I know what this means. You're not gonna when I pop that 800, it's not a happy world. When I pop the 100, it's already starting to get a little dangerous. But I'm gonna pop this. See, and I'm technically I can pop them because it's been as high as like 108, and I see quote unquote private transactions at 130 in Japan. But on the Shanghai market, and it's no bit. Brad, I can't even talk because there's so damn much going on. India, nobody talks about India. India is the cause of this. All India did was innocently, or maybe not so innocently, say, we would like our silver, please. We are standing here beside ourselves, wondering why we cannot receive our silver. And turns out there's not an abundant supply of silver because the lying tiny hat while touching adrenochrome drinkers are been lying about it since 1873. And now we got to sort everything out in like months. And this is 150 fucking years of price suppression and fuckery. So already, if I was in Shanghai, and technically I could pop this sort of kind of because I have students in Hong Kong. So when I'm talking to them in Hong Kong, I might be allowed to break because it's over 105. She went down to the shops. I have this one friend. Well, she's not a friend. She's a client, and a friend. But she went down to the shops, and sure as shit, everything's over 105 bucks. And then there's premiums on top of that, and that's cash and carry, my friends, in Hong Kong. Okay, so that's not just right. And there are, yeah, and they're busy. It's not like here. It's they're busy. Some of them, she wasn't gonna go in because, oh, you know what I mean? Like she's not gonna wait in line to do research for me, because you don't gonna get in the freaking store. Okay, confirm every place else but United States. Confirmed. India, de no more. I mean, literally, they're not selling silver. Their ETFs and stuff closed down. We had one. We have actually two now. Why? Because they can't source the underlying metal. We got arbitrage. Okay, the way the market's supposed to work, and if you guys know, I shouldn't be explaining anything new. Uh, the way things supposed to work is if I can buy it over here for 90 and sell it over there for 10, well, okay, then I'm gonna do that. And then the gap gonna close because one way or the other, if why would you buy it for 100 if you can get over here for 90? And why would you sell it for 90 if you can sell it over there for 100? So eventually the market is supposed to fix that arbitrage. But arbitrage has been open for days and days and days and over the weekend and everything. But this is nuts. The silver market is broken. And for a little while here, uh and show your friends. Oh, come back and watch this thing at 2 times speed. And by the way, give me a like because this one I'm gonna not get in trouble with the tubes. And this is a dire and severe warning from like, I don't know, 5 different sources. because I subscribe to various newsletters. Big fucking red letter. Don't you fucking dare. Like Seeking Alpha. Don't you dare short silver. If you want to, like, you want to go bankrupt and ruin your whole investing career, go ahead and short silver right now. 5 different letters telling you don't fucking short silver. Okay. And then we got people who are in the Blackville camp talking about how, yeah, everything seizes up. If the credit seizes up, what you got is what you got. Oh, do you notice this? Oh, it's so weird because it's backwards and wrong. Okay, there you go. What is that? Nicotine. I have discovered that nicotine is a pain reliever and also does all kind of stuff. And it's hilarious because I'm used to looking in a mirror and what I'm seeing is not. Anyway. Okay, but yeah. And see, they lied about that. I just say do your research. There's directed discovery. I just go do your research on nicotine. But anyway, Brock, I should be able to pop this bottle anytime. It's coming. And see, that's the magic number, right? That's the psychological number. I made a video elsewhere talking about how these people are able to charge numbers and words so that when you see them, they have an effect. So anyway, we like round numbers. See, but the round numbers you need to translate the round numbers in one, because they're the guys setting the market, back to US dollars. So their psychological number is like right around is like 20,750, 21,000, 22,001 per kilogram. And then you do the division and it comes out too, right? Okay. Right now, they are sitting 105 is what I'm seeing. But see, again, depends on where you look. Market is completely fractured. Okay. And now people are starting to say, oh, I wonder what will happen next. Okay. We have 2 schools of thought. Basically, we're either going to see silver skyrocket and readjust, and this is going to cause bank failures, or eventually, what's going to happen is they're going to make it so that you can transact, because what we want to do is transact without the middleman. But transacting without the middleman is a pain in the ass. So what they're going to do is start trying to tokenize some silver, and you may want to tokenize some silver, not all of it, so that you can transact in commerce. And then your debit card will be backed by silver. Okay, that's going to take a little bit to set up. That doesn't happen overnight. So in the meantime, unless you want to be shooting at your neighbors, if you'd rather trade, now would be the time while durable goods are available for purchase. Okay, because here's the other thing. We're going to have a bank failure in this place called Europe. And when that happens, you got 2 weeks. Okay, so durable goods, candles, toilet paper, aspirin, razor blades, honey, sugar, matches. Did I mention candles? Did I mention soap? That's kind of stuff you can barter with. Whiskey, cigarettes. No joking. We may have a little time where that's a thing. But it's not going to be a long time. I don't believe that we're reverting back to this. I know people, right? Okay, because here's the other thing that may happen. There's 2 thoughts on Bitcoin. Bitcoin may wind up down there in the 30s this year because I'm seeing the parabola, and it looks like a parabola. I haven't confirmed it yet, but keep it up a little bit more, and we'll see if it's doing the parabola to the downside, an upside down parabola, not the. It's already done plenty of these, plenty of these, insanely so, to the point where it got to be like $126,000 for one Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin isn't going to go to 300,000 or 400,000 this year. It may in the future at some time. I don't think Bitcoin's going away, but silver is going to triple at least. And Bitcoin is going to head in the other direction. So why would you be in Bitcoin? Okay, that's one school of thought. The other school of thought is when there's financial collapse and nobody wants to be in banks, they're going to run to Bitcoin and drive the price up. Which one of these scenarios is the more likely scenario? I am not sure. I lean toward the rug pull where it goes down to 30. Because the other thing is there's so damn many other cryptos that could absorb the money that flees the banking system. Because now they're talking about bail-ins. Yeah, because every time this happens, they're talking about war, they're talking about aliens, they're talking about anything. But the fact that people that I can say that out loud, satanic pedophiles who worship the adversary have been involved in the fuckery with regard to silver. They lie about everything. Okay, I can't even tell you. This is a blackout mask. I have been sun gazing. Guess who cannot look at the sun? Okay, sun gaze. Learn about sun gazing. I'm finding Egyptian hieroglyphs and statuary and all kind of relief with regard, and of course I can't decipher what it says, but it's clearly these people are sun gazing. They've got you to the point, and see now my girlfriend starting to notice. Yeah, she's starting because I drag her out there kicking and screaming, but she look at the sun and suddenly her vision has improved. She can read print, and my vision 100% improved. I can read the fine print, bruh. Can read them. Look over here, and it says, I've heard this. Yeah. There's a there's this whole other world called Persia. We now know it as Iran, and we don't even talk about those guys. They have industry, they want silver, but the main guys is India. India caused most of this. Why? Because they just demanded their silver. And it turns out it's a complete lie that there's plenty of silver. There's plenty of paper, but there's not plenty of silver. And every other market, bond market, any other stock market, anything, they can paper it over. Penny stocks, they can paper it over. Or they can drive a company out of business by just printing their stock into oblivion, shorting them into oblivion. I saw them do that numerous times to some fairly decent companies, but they didn't want the technology coming out, so they just shorted them. Sold shares until the company couldn't raise money, couldn't continue. Okay, they control the fucking markets. Get it through your heads. All right, they had control of the silver market and the gold market and the platinum market and the forex and every other fucking market. Oil. They set the price of oil at negative. I think part of that was a flex, personally. Okay, just showing you, we can set the price of what the fuck we like. All right, so right now, but no, they cannot set the price at what the fuck they like because there are industrial uses for silver and there are companies that need the silver. And can you imagine where 1 ounce of silver makes it so you can't sell your whole product and that whole product could be, thousands of dollars, but you need that ounce of silver. And many guys are coming back and saying, yes, you cannot, you could swap out metals, but it takes retooling and it's like, no, it doesn't happen immediately. So even if they want to thrift silver, it's going to be a while for that. And now it's sinking in, and I made a video to myself. Novus Ordo Seclorum. They can't do it. They believe they can do it. It's order out of chaos. But a new world order out of chaos using data and information and AI, and we're going to get it right this time because we have more information and data and we can crunch it that much. No, they can't control the damn markets because you can't control all the variables. In order to do the math, you must do calculus, and it requires several variables. In fact, many, many variables. And if you try to get down to one variable, singularity, no, you can't. Anyway, you're describing mathematically a exceptionally complex system The system is described mathematically, but it is too complex for the mathematics to be predictive because there are too many variables. Um, this was proven to us in no uncertain terms. They fucking wrote it down by the Austrian economists, Hayek and the whole Austrian school, whose names are Friedman and all those guys. Right? They told you, yes, you can't control the markets because too many variables, and they have been getting away with it since 1873 when they demonetized money demonetized silver, and then they totally did the final stroke. And 100 years later, in 1971, they have long-term plans, and the plan is to bankrupt the nation. The plan is to get rid of these crazy Americans who think they have God-given rights. No, they want total enslavement. Further, if you get a little more spiritual, they wish to show the adversary and our benefactor that we are unworthy of grace and can be tricked and fooled and controlled. And we'll do it voluntarily rather than exercise the free will that God has given us. It is. See, a lot of these guys starting to figure out it's a spiritual journey. But the whole thing, the mathematics is intricately entwined because mathematics is intrinsic to the human. And I can talk about that I'll get off on a tangent like a squirrel, but just quickly, they don't want you to be able to do mathematics in your head. A lot of you do mathematics without knowing you're even doing mathematics. I can give you numerous examples. Cattlemen, for example. There's business cattlemen, and then there was the old school cattlemen that know how many head, and how many acres, how much water, how much hay they got to put up. And they're doing math in their head, but they're not like doing spreadsheets and on their computers because there weren't none. I know carpenters. They rarely bust out once they have a length. They don't need tools and angles and so because they're masters. They just do it in their head and make the cuts and put it together, and bam, I got saw horses in 15 minutes. It would have taken me hours. But this guy whipped them together out of scrap wood. Never pulled out a tape measure because he can do the math in his head. They don't want you doing the math in your head, especially not financial mathematics, economics. See, but a lot of something's wrong, something's not right. The market's broken, something's not something it's not right. It shouldn't take so many of these. But see, we are minutes away from a dime being 10 of these, a quarter being 25 of these, a 50-cent piece being 50 of these, and a dollar. And I'm talking about the 90s. I'm talking about 90 percenters. I'm not talking about 593949 silver. You're going to need 100 of these for $1. What have they done? They've moved the decimal point over. But they're not done yet. And this $100 isn't buying what $100 used to buy. I'm so old. I remember when $100 would buy me like, oh my God, do the math, at $2.50 a pound for a hamburger. How much hamburger would $100 buy? Oh my God. Shopping cart full. Now $100 buys like 15 pounds. 3 trays. $100 buys 1 rack of steaks. And now they don't even sell them in the packs anymore. They have cut them down because they weren't selling. Because get plenty of meat, but nobody buying them. Okay, what's happening, my friends, is a complete and utter revaluation. And what happened was is the thing was kicked off by the Indians demanding their silver. And then it turned out, oh, we don't have it. And they freaking ran out during Diwali. People wanted to buy silver and there wasn't any. Why? Because they've got a middle class that's coming up. They're industrializing. They need silver, they need copper, they need all this stuff because they're at where China was 25 years ago, is where they are. And they got a billion people also. So they're gonna need a lot of silver. And they have silver mines, but, nobody was mining silver in India, even with the low wages, 'cause you couldn't get it out of the ground for $20. Okay, they kept the price down for so long that now when people want silver, they can't just turn on supply, it's gonna take years. Everybody has figured out it's what get now is what get. And after this, no more because everything coming out of the ground is spoken for. Everything, every ounce of it. In fact, it's negative. We need more than what's coming out of the ground every year. And the stockpiles that we had piled up are being depleted. And the difference between silver and every other damn paper asset is there's going to be more of these every day. A trillion in 71 days. There's going to be less silver next year and the year after that. Because the silver that, everybody going to war, every one of those bombs, every one of those Tomahawk missiles, there went a monster box of silver. Gone forever. Gotta go mine more. Every time the Samsung buys silver, they're not vaulting it and gonna sell it at a higher price to their competition. They're gonna use it. So that silver, gone. And we got 2 guys that, 2 different companies came up with the same technology at the same time, more or less, is the way ideas work. And see, here's the thing, but the battery technology that's gonna use silver, if they just use like 20% gets into the, market, the EV market, using a battery that charges in 15 minutes and gets like 2 times, 3 times the distance and has like shelf life like 10, 20 years. Yeah, if they only get 20% of the market, because only 20% of the market's gonna want that technology, not 100% of the market. Everybody's gonna switch over to this battery as fast as they can. And the guys first to market are gonna sell cars, except they might not be able to get the silver because just these 2 companies, one in, uh, China and one in Korea, never mind ones in Japan and Russia and all these other companies that are using the technology. Because here's the thing, they can't kill the idea. That's the Christ, you silly people. They don't fear men, they fear the ideas because we can pick up the ideas. And it's very clear the idea for this battery has come into the consciousness and is popping up on various continents. And we're not even talking about Africa. Okay. But they did the math, and just 2 of the companies will use up 40% of all the mine supply. Oh, wait a minute. The mine supply is already used up. Where are you going to get the silver to build these batteries? Oh, well, with what we have now, with the stockpiles that we have now. Okay, well, then they're buying the stockpiles that we have now because they realize that it's going to be years before we replace or can replace the silver that's being used up by industry right now. Yeah, there's proven reserves and there's all this other stuff, and yeah, but we've got issues that everything's busted. The market is broken for a little while there, and the Austrians told us there's going to be a little while there where you have difficulty with price discovery. And that's what's happening. The market is discovering how much is this freaking ounce of silver worth compared to gold, compared to platinum, compared to oil, compared to other commodities. We don't know. Everybody's been lying. We don't even know the we can't do you can't do the math because you don't know how much is being used and who's got what. Because it's very secretive there for a while. We don't they're not showing their cards. They're not telling you how much silver they have. We can estimate. but what get is what get, and no more coming. And we're not recycling is also almost busted. Why? Because we're having a liquidity cash flow. So this is a warning video. It took me too long to get to this point. I'm half an hour in. But warn your friends. If and when, because it's not an if, there is actually a bank that goes under because of this whole their short position, because they can't source the metal, and the musical chairs are about to stop. And it looks like the one that's going to be holding the bag, because our bankers are smart and evil, and they figured out how to shift the burden to some of the European bankers instead of the American bankers. In fact, they probably are going to make money off of all this, because a lot of them went long and they actually have some silver that they'll be happy to sell at a much higher price. And then some dork entity or entities went 25 million. We can count that. We don't know who it was, but somebody went 25 million ounces short in the last 2 days. They're already underwater. That was them when they were trying to push the price down from 94, 95 and pushing it down. Yeah, they were doing that. What were they doing? They were dumping phantom silver into the market like they always do to try to keep it under 95 or 94 or 92. And they've been losing and losing and losing. And now, as we speak, gold is at 49.80. Oh, wait a minute. It just dropped down to 49.71. So it's trading right around 49.75. This is gold we're talking about. $4,000. All right. Silver, on the other hand, is 99.48 right now as we speak at January 22nd. It is Thursday, 2026 at 6:38 p.m. here in Phoenix, in Arizona state. I am not in state of Arizona. It's impossible for me to be. I am not US citizen. I am non-citizen national, standing on the ground. Well, technically on the second floor, but still. I am de jure. I am not out at sea, and I have let everybody know. And they fucked with me anyway, because I never give them money for their paperwork. That's going to be a costly mistake. But we'll get into that on other videos. And then, see, I don't want to get people in trouble, but I know they're listening. It turns out a lot of people starting to ask the simple question: have you guys got an oath of office? You wouldn't have to have an oath of office, would you? You're supposed to have an oath of office, and there's supposed to be an anti-bribery statement attached. Oh, look, there's some code here that I can read to you that tells you. And no, because you're state of Hawaii or state of Florida or state of Texas or state of Arizona, you're not. No, that applies to you. You have to have an oath of office to be an officer in the corporation known as, you're part of the franchise known as United States. I am not part of the franchise known as United States. My sons have proven thus with their 5-star passports. And I was just having a conversation. We'll keep it short. But my one boy, they were withholding tax on him, despite him telling them that he didn't owe the tax, and they withheld the fucking tax anyway. And he should have recorded the phone calls, because I told you guys numerous times the IRS is your best fucking friend if you're on the right side of the fence. And he was getting the runaround, and then because he was smart enough not to take no for an answer, need to speak to a manager, send me up the ladder, send me up the ladder, send me up the ladder. Because the guys working at the bottom of the ladder answering phones, if they knew about the 5-star passport and everything that had to do with that, they wouldn't be fucking working the phones at the IRS. Now, would they? Okay, so anyway, he gets up to a manager, or I don't know, I think G5 or whatever the fuck it was. And it's like, oh yeah, you do need and he was calling taxpayer assistance. I can't remember what the hell it was. Anyway, see, and he should have recorded the phone calls. But anyway, they wound up saying that yes, and they filled out for him, and they told him what forms you have to fill and what to do. And then IRS literally told the person in Hawaii, stop fucking withholding tax on this person. You're causing us unnecessary paperwork. He doesn't owe it. Boom. And release the money that is owed because you are the withholding agent and you have that money, $15,000. Give it back. Okay, most of you guys, this boy is 19 fucking years old, and most of you guys do not have the wherewithal or knowledge to do what he just did. This shit's real, folks. You are exercising rights, but they're not gonna give you rights if you don't ask for that. You don't ask, please, may I have permission to have no, you demand you just take your rights. And you let them know that you have these God-given rights, and they fucking hate that. They're Pharisees. And I can tell you from direct experience, the Pharisees are liars. And they got a hold of the book and changed the story just enough to make you think that this heaven is this other thing. No, what you want to do, you're not taking anything, no silver, nothing. You're not taking his body, nothing is going with you except for the treasure that you lay up. Okay, it's not silver or gold or tangible. What is the treasure? And if you don't know that, I feel sorry for you. And one more time, I can't believe this is so difficult. Left-hand path, harm children. Right-hand path, nurture children. That's it. You guys like to try and make it complicated? Well, not if I'm a Republican or not if I'm a Democrat. Well, you're a fucking American, first thing. And you're an American fool who's been fooled into thinking that you're a US citizen that's either a Republican or a Democrat or a libertarian or a constitutionalist or whatever, but you're an employee of that fucking corporation. And I'm not. And I have documents from Homeland Security to tell you, state citizens, even the Eligius is a state citizen with all kinds of rights that I claim and never waived knowingly or willingly. See how that works? Law of contracts, peoples. The law of contracts says I gotta be understanding what the fuck it is I'm signing or what we're agreeing to. You cannot be just you gets it because it's double entendre. And I don't get it because I don't speak legalese. So I'm thinking it's one thing and you're thinking it's another. You know it's another. I don't know it's another. Oh, that's omission. That's fraud. Non-disclosure. All of those things. That's also might be mistake, might be incompetence. But all of these things are covered in the law. Yes, UCC even, and every state has adopted UCC, but UCC allows for mistakes. So does USC. Because mistakes, people make mistakes. But I don't think they was making a mistake when they tricked these women into signing a birth certificate. I think that was non-disclosure fraud and omission. Because they were thinking, oh, I'm letting the world know that this child is born. And that I have a son or a daughter, and I'm making it official and letting the world know. I'm so proud I got a baby. Sign right here. How come it says informant? Oh, that's not important. Just sign right here. Oh, can I get the soul document? The document where you blacked his feet? Blackfoot Indians. Anywhere you black his feet. No, no. And if you do, you're going to get it. It's like a souvenir for. And see, this is the thing. Make your own. There is no court case that will tell you that the statutes, particularly the rules of civil procedure even, but any of that Paperwork Reduction Act, any of that. No, they allow you to make your own documents in lieu of. Oh, you should be able to look up that statute. Where does it say that? My son just quoted it to me. See, I'm loving it because 19, 20, 21, he's going to spend the next 3 years of his life learning about all this stuff, trust and how to be an attorney in fact, and how to be your own damn postmaster, and how to be your own banker, and how to be how to operate in the private, and how to stay out of the public, which is actually private. when you get right down to it, it's just really big, so we consider it the public, but no, they're it's the merchant's tent. And the merchant's tent, this imaginary United States corporation and its franchises, sits over the land. Further, they're assuming that you're an infant. They're also gonna assume, and it depends on who you talk to, by the way, because they have different assumptions. Some of them assume that you're dead and lost at sea. Some of them just assume that you're incompetent and an infant and that you need help, and that you can't speak for yourself because you're deaf, dumb, and mute. And you never told them otherwise, so clearly you're deaf, dumb, and mute because you never spoke. How do you speak? Oh, you gotta give stuff by your hand. And I'm gonna all 4 of you a secret. And this is why Patrick Devine and others figured this out. You got to raise your seal so that if I put my hand over your signature, that's the living document. So you have to have a seal. You gotta have a seal or you're dead. It's flat. Raised seal. You gotta learn about endorsements. I'm not telling you more than that. You gotta go look, and there's a certain the seal, of course, has specifications and placement. But there's a freebie that I pulled out from many hours of watching many videos and documenting some of this stuff, paid videos, by the way. Right? Because and has been impressed upon me that some of this is private information. So you're gonna have to get into the private to get the information. Step 1 in the private, get your fucking passport. Or you might make a document that identifies you as a private person, but you gotta know what to put on that document so that if you use that document, they don't delay you, they actually let you go through, and you're gonna have to claim protected citizen status for the Enlegis in commerce. How you do that? Or you're gonna have to naturalize and do a few other things. And what statute am I talking about? And if you don't know, you should know. If you know, put it over here you can put it over here in the chat for other people. But so you gotta look it up yourself. You can't you gotta be able to express yourself with a pencil and paper. Well, pen and paper. Make your document legible, and then you gotta know who to send it to. Definitely you wanna send it to the Secretary of State and his representatives. Definitely wanna send it to the people at the passport office. Might wanna send something similar to motor vehicles. Perhaps risk management in your county. Gentlemen, always give notice. Let them know that, oh, you moved out of county of Maui and into Maui County. Or wherever you may be. You've moved out of Maricopa County, or excuse me, you've moved out of county of Maricopa and back to Maricopa County in Arizona State, in United States Republic, claiming the Constitution for United States. Or, in my case, I like the Illinois Constitution. Baga old. Has lots of good tenets in there. You might wanna use the Arizona Constitution. You might wanna use I mean, organic constitution for the Kingdom of Hawaii of 1848 might be the one you, like, use. Whatever state constitution it is, and you'll find that states' rights, oh my goodness. Now, don't abuse the privilege. You work for me. They don't wanna hear that. And see, the secret, if there is one, it's not a secret, that my sons have put to the fucking test, unfortunately. But yeah, you should hear their experiences crossing borders. But also, once you show that, there's no how they can't escalate. They pretty much just go, fuck it, I'm out. They've proven this numerous times. They can't get away from you fast enough. The really good ones, like up in Utah, And Idaho will ask you if you need assistance before they depart, as they are required to do as servants of the public, citizens of the United States, who we have contracted with to manage the slaves. And you may have been one of the slaves that they were managing by your contract. Okay, the paperwork is all over the place now. People waking up. See, this is the other thing. They cannot stop an idea whose time has come. Right? The idea is, wait a minute, we're free men. Oh, wait a minute, we're bonded free men. Oh, wait a minute, I signed that shit. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't know what I was signing. Oh, I didn't realize that suddenly I was waiving all of my God-given rights in return for you to manage my estate for me. While you failed to let me know that you made some assumptions, which I have rebutted, by the way, and made it a matter of public record. Okay, you need to do the same. And you need to let your friends know, yeah, silver is a big part of this. Silver will make you sovereign. And see, if they're calling you a sovereign citizen, no, I'm a 5-star passport holder, and that's slander. And can you show me anywhere in the codes where that term is defined? Oh, you can't, because it isn't. Something you guys made up. Okay. Brian, I know you're watching. Oh, and on that similar vein, leave them alone. They're not going to join. They're not going to join. They're not going to join. Promise. Okay, so the idea is we got tribulation coming probably sooner than later. Everything I've been talking about is about to happen. That's why how long? Years ago, I was showing you, oh, look, this one is delicious. All the different 25-year foods. You should have some. You should have had some silver, well under 20. And you should take heed of the advice from women who have gone through depressions and wars, and Wiemeyer really lived through it. Food on shelf better than silver in hand. Okay, so the idea is that we're there. It's no longer. I'm not going to call the probability, but the probability is no longer zero that this happens. So prepare. And if it doesn't happen, we are happy. But if it does, we are not affected like the ones who have nothing on the shelf and no silver to use, because their paper is shit and there's nothing on the shelves. Okay, we don't know this. We barely know this in United States because we've always been so abundant. We're always going to be abundant, but there are those who remember when we weren't abundant, and yeah, we had this thing called the Great Depression. And they also remember that there was food, they just couldn't buy it. They couldn't afford it. That's why they were in bread lines, because they couldn't afford to buy food. But there was food if you had money. The rich were not starving. The upper classes were like, "Oh, those poor peasants." After they just stole all the farms, and fucking, you guys not mad enough. You guys just aren't mad enough. And finally, they're being exposed again. And how are they being exposed? With silver. Oh, good. There's a semi-naked, mature Asian porn star traipsing about the apartment. The point is, and they won't listen, they won't listen, but you gotta take your friends aside and tell them, "Get you some silver. You're late, but get you some silver." And prepare for what could be a possible disruption. It's no longer 0% chance. In fact, I think we're crept over 50 now. Okay, and then do some self-education on this thing called XRP. Because looks like that's going to be, doesn't matter what the currency is. That's gonna be how we do cross-border payments, and seeing them at the WEF and listening to what the freaking CEO of the company and others had to say, XRP is definitely part of the program. What part and how much the XRP is gonna be per coin, no idea, but XRP is definitely part of the program. Bitcoin, part of the program, Solana, HBAR. There are several coins, just like .com. Lots of companies went out of business, but the ones that stayed are now stalwarts and worth much money. Well, much currency. And it's gonna be the same thing with the crypto world. There's gonna be a few of them that are worth a lot, because I don't believe the whole thing's coming to an end, at least not for another 20-something years. Actually, that's not true. Oh my god, it's 20 years. Oh my god, it's not even 20 years, it's 16 years. Because 2040 is, oh my god. Anyway, all right. No, what am I saying? It's 14 years, not 16. Got my 6 and my 4 confused. But, the bottom line is that for the next 14 years, I don't see it going Mad Max. I do see crazy, crazy abundance, and then I do see some issues because of things that are absolutely beyond our control. And some people wanna call it Savartica fire or polar shift or earth changes or whatever, but it seems that all the books talk about it. So they definitely wanna come through this on top, and we wanna come through this on top, and the way you're gonna come through this on top is educate yourself and store up silver. That's for this part of the simulation, and then for the next part of the simulation, you wanna store up wealth that is intangible, just like your intangible rights. And see, if you stand on your intangible rights here, you can stand on your intangible rights there. But if you didn't stand on your intangible rights here, why would they give them to you there? I actually may have said too much. Okay. And I love it. Everybody tuned out anyway. Yeah, bottom line. Metals particularly, but yeah, commodities for sure. Yeah, see what I'm thinking one more time, what I'm thinking um is at some point in the near future, well, and months, maybe those months could be as long as years, but at some point in the pretty near future, foreseeable future, you will be able to take your silver and exchange it for gold at 1 to 1 or better. That's how crazy this is going to get, because they're going to figure out ain't no silver, plenty of gold, plenty of above ground gold. Next year, there'll be more gold, but there isn't going to be more silver. There's going to be lots less silver next year. And the year after that, there's going to be less silver than that. And there's going to be more gold than there was before. Because all the gold that comes out of the ground gets vaulted. It doesn't get used up in industry. Might get turned into jewelry or something like that. But overall, there is all the gold that's been mined is not being used in electronics yet. Because I can assure you that there is some electronics where the gold actually might do better than silver. But it's $4,000 an ounce, so why not just use silver? And well, anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But everything they've told you, everything the Austrians told you is coming to pass. The crack up boom. We're in the crack up boom. And see, that's the thing. When you're in the crack up boom, it's hard to tell you're in the crack up boom, except for the fact that I noticed that jar of pickles used to be $2.59 and now it's $5.89. And it's the same fucking jar. And I'm not that old. And it wasn't that long ago. And I remember when steak, hamburger, $5 a pound. Okay. And that was high. right? $3 a pound, $2.50 a pound, but not $5, what? More than $6 a pound now. But if you measure in dimes, and this is what I'm telling others, gas has never been so cheap. At the moment, gas is as cheap, but you can't store the gas. I would trade silver for gas, but I can't store the gas because I'm pretty sure gas is going to go up here because it's ridiculous that one dime buys what? At one point, it's going to probably be $5. But Trump has told you they can rig the markets and they plan on turning on the spigots and driving the price down. All these people thinking that the price is going to go up. I say it's going to go down. Why are they going to go down? Because it makes it so that they can't prosecute war. Simple as that. High prices, oil funds armies. At low prices, they have to choose between armies and social programs, and they generally have to choose social programs because their people are violent. So they don't want hungry people. So they make sure, right? Okay. And see, a lot of those countries, Middle East and so forth, but many other countries, they use their oil to subsidize their social programs. So we apply pressure on them because this is war by taking the price of oil down and making sure that they certainly aren't going to be extracting oil from our part of the hemisphere and taking it back to their part of the hemisphere. And Venezuela is in our part of the hemisphere, and they're not selling to China or Russia anymore. And then I cannot believe that people have never played Risk. You got to look at a map and just look at Greenland. We're taking Greenland. That's not even, they're going to make him sound crazy and they're going to put on a big show and a play, but we're taking Greenland. And as I was listening to some Danes talk to a comedian, that was an interesting piece of information from a source where I was trying to get away from politics. But anyway, what they were saying is that, yeah, we sold the U.S. Virgin Islands, what's now the U.S. Virgin Islands, used to be the British Virgin Islands. Anyway, the Dutch had control of it, and they sold it to us for $25 million back in the day, 100 years ago. And it was a similar thing. Either sell it to us or we'll take it. And this is what we're doing again. Sell it to us. So we're taking, the precedent has already been set. Well, we're part of the bullies on the block. This is the military arm of the Empire of the City. Oh, yes. In case Cynthia happens to see this. Oh, look what I have, because she just posted this on my page today. Over there in the Facebook world. Oh, that didn't do it. Oh, I could get a hot time. Can you pass me a scissors? Oh, never mind. I got it. Yeah. It's just cardboard. It didn't have the, I was trying to tear it from the side that had the plastic. Oh, it's not a thick book, but it is now in my possession. So now I'm going to be talking firsthand from this source. Okay, the idea is, in this empire, we are the military arm. London is the financial arm, and Rome is the, because it's three, it's always three. You don't separate the three. And they have absolutely used our United States military by popularizing, no, I don't know, filling up with Americans who think they're American, but nope, they're U.S. citizens because they're become U.S. Marines and U.S. So they work for the corporation, and the corporation's interests are not the same as American interests. Clearly, this has been made clear many times. The Empire of the City's interests and Americans' interests sometimes overlap, but not always. And if they do overlap, they're always overlapping at the expense of others. Like I said, look at this. This is not a thick book. Okay. Like I said, watch this thing on 2x speed. I could cover a whole lot more, but this is a dire warning. 1, don't short silver. Oh my God, don't short silver unless you want to lose everything. Every major outlet. 2, It's going much, much higher than the average person can do the clearly, they can't do the math. Because if they could do the math, they'd understand that, 1, the Austrians already told you that complexity, you can't control complexity. You have to control the complexity locally in local markets. And that's the decentralized approach. And see, what they want is absolute centralization. Now, see, these coins, that this technology we've come up with, can be used either way. It's a double-edged sword. It can be enslaving or freeing. We can cut out the middleman and make it so if I want to send email to that woman right there, it can have money in it. That easy. I don't need to go to a bank. I don't need anything. I take money from me and I send it to her, and none of you fucking have anything to do with it or need to know about it. Don't need no fucking addresses, emails, don't need account numbers, don't need anything. There might be some passwords involved. There might be some encryption involved so it doesn't get intercepted. But what they're trying to do, and we're not there yet, but we're getting close, is so that I can send money from me to her as easily as I go over there and hand her this dollar bill. And can be anonymous if I want to. I just give her money. She doesn't have to know where it came from. Just all of a sudden there's money in the account. Great. Where'd this come from? Okay, and then you have a conversation offline that says, "Oh, I sent you such and such for such and such." "Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'll send you the change." And you guys don't have to know shit about Shinola. Why? Why? And certainly fucking IRS and government, none of them need to know anything about that. Private transaction between two individuals? No, between a man and a woman in this case, or between two men. But they've got you turned into individuals, living individuals. Sounds official. But those living individuals are actually decedents. Because they're corporations. They have no thumbs. They're not gonna sign nothing. You act as agent for them. There's your fucking equity right there. You are agent for. You are not same as. Right? If you hold this picture up and say that's Crouton Ramon, I'll say no, that's a picture of me. That's not a picture of Crouton Ramon. That's not me. That's a picture of me. I am not Crouton Ramon. I own the name and I have the registered trademark, which is expired, by the way, but go ahead and try and use it. It's a going concern, and people do, in fact, call me Crouton Ramon. And I have a website that was, and a web page. My Facebook page, I just figured out, was started on November 25th, 2009. My website came live. I was working on it at the time, and they were saying, "Oh, get your Facebook and other stuff so you can promote your website." My website came live December 25th, 2009. Christmas Day. It was a gift. Again, I've been using it ever since. And see, I have to make a phone call to the IRS because once you get your paperwork taken care of, they're happy to help you. Hey, I have created this in Legis. I've created this sole proprietorship so that I can do commerce. I'm over here in the private. Hi, this is me, Ben Hosea, from the House of Rogers. It's not the same thing as Ben H. Rogers. That's this other sole proprietorship. I'm going to quit using that sole proprietorship, and I created this other sole proprietorship of my own. So it needs a number as a sole proprietorship. It needs an identification number so it can do commerce. And then that entity created this thing called Crouton Ramon's House of Math. And no, the living man has no social security number. The social security number belongs to that other in Legis. And actually, it doesn't even belong to the in Legis. It's associated with, because it tells you directly that social security card and that number is property of the private corporation known as the Social Security Administration that has a DUNS number you can look up. Right, I just weaved through all these webs right for you in multiple sentences. Took years to get this information. Oh, yes, Government Printing Office Styles Manual. We've been looking for this fucking thing forever. Okay. Section 5.22 to Section 5.26 defines how to describe the state citizen. Hawaii residents need to be extra careful and make it clear to them that a Hawaii resident is not the same thing as a resident of Hawaii. And certainly not the same as the resident of state of Hawaii. It's a Hawaii resident. I'm an Illinoisan. I was born in Illinois. My mother was born in Illinois. My father was a New Yorker. We are Native Americans. We are the originators. We were here first. We stand over that corporation. We are the creators and creditors of that corporation. And they did it and made us creditors, whether we wanted to be creditors or not. And then tried to trick us into saying that, oh, you're not actually the creditors, you're the debtors and the trustees. No, we're the originators and the beneficiaries. And trying to explain that to guys who were incarcerated was impossible. And they'd even call them trustees. We need some trustees. Like, I'm not a trustee. I'm a beneficiary, so I can't go. But they got you over and over again to try and volunteer, and equity will not aid a volunteer. So if you're not volunteering, you don't really, the equity will aid you. But all these guys selling equity courses for $2,500 and $2,000 and $1,700 and so forth. Fucking A, equity. No, you want law, you want law, you want law. You want to be sui juris, competent to know the law, well enough that the IRS is your friend, well enough that you know how to bind down a judge and make him do what's right. Where you can defend yourself if need be. But I can guarantee you, I already going to tell you, once you start, and the one thing that absolutely seals the deal, but once you get that 5-star, they don't pretty much want to talk to you anymore. They may fuck with you a little bit, but what do you have to do? What you have to do is then show them that you will stand up in court and that you are response able, not deaf, dumb, mute, silent, don't do anything about it when they fuck with you. And then apparently you only have to do that once, and that's that. Okay, this one will in fact stand up. Next. Why would they want to fuck with you when they can get somebody that'll just be like completely fooled and sign their rights away, and all the way to the point where they can put them in a cell and collect money every day on them? 100% voluntarily, as it turns out. I used to think that was just fucking ridiculous. But then I realized, as I sat in courtroom after courtroom watching these guys in orange suits stand up, and absolutely. And brah, make no mistake, some of them guys shouldn't be in public, shouldn't be out among regular humans. But make no mistake. But they're still tricked. They're still fooled. They're still right. And that's why they don't want them knowing, because the whole thing under the Sixth Amendment is they're supposed to know nature and cause, and the cause is the statute, but they never tell them it's commerce. And there's a bunch of omission and non-disclosure going on there too. But you know what? Fuck those guys, rapists and murderers and drug dealers. But see, that's the thing. That's why you got to be non-combatant. That's why you want to be a Christian. That's why you not want to be a heathen. Right? You're peaceful, not harmless, which is why you are obliged to carry a weapon. Because even a little old lady with a weapon can stop a crime. I have seen in numerous situations in Idaho and Montana, well, not numerous, more than one, where the fact that everybody was armed is why everybody was polite, because these men did not like each other. But everybody remained very polite because everybody was fucking armed. And further, the police and other officers up there, to include game wardens and so forth, they treat you very respectfully because everybody's armed. They don't try to bully you, but they'll let you know this is the statute and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line, my friends, is things are changing. They're changing rapidly. Von Mises spelled it out. Hayek spelled it out. The Austrians spelled it out. Friedman spelled it out. Crack up, boom. They're going to create all kind of money. There's going to be all kinds of distortions. The markets are going to be broken. You're going to go to your coin shop and they can't buy your silver because they haven't got any. They won't trade you FRNs because they don't have any FRNs. And then we're going to have the opposite problem where there's going to be too many FRNs. And then people aren't going to sell their silver for FRNs, or well, not for a few FRNs. They're going to want $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $100 for 1 ounce. If you're going to give me FRNs for it, then I want lots of FRNs because they're fucking worthless. We're not there yet, but it's this year. It's not next year. 2026. Here we are. Year of the fire horse. And when the fire horse comes, and can you hear it? I can hear it galloping there in the back. It's not here yet. The 14th is when it gets here. And then it's fucking a downhill slide. And then you can go do other kind of astrology and oh, fuck. So even if you don't know how to read the stars, you should have maybe a feeling of something's not right. But see, a lot of people don't because they're not paying attention to the price of silver. They don't know what's going on in the markets. They don't understand there's going to be a bank feeler. They're going along. They got kids to raise. They got dogs to walk. They got stuff to do. They're not crazy like you and me. They don't got time for this. And they think it doesn't have any effect when actually it's going to, oops, the card doesn't work. What happened? Oh, something about silver. So let your friends and family know. This is the same motherfuckers that was standing on stickers and wearing masks. You got to let them know. And they're not going to believe you, but some of them will. And see, some of them are going to resent you very much because you told them about the stickers and the whole everything else. Oops, see, I can't go down this road. Get in trouble. They'll get my video pulled down. But the idea is them same people, you got to let them know. And some of them have figured out, oh, yeah, well, you might have been right about that. They resent you for it, but you might be right about this. And then there's a whole, the same guys that fell for 9/11. And before that, Gulf of Tonkin. And after that, there was all kind of stuff. And then there's lots and lots of great stories that they're telling you. And see, people are starting to figure out these are stories. It's theater. And it's live action role playing. You can join in if you want to. You want it to be stupid and go fuck around with the guys that are armed in masks. And see, this is the thing. They got us so fucked in the head that there is a large contingent that has no problem with a masked man shooting a white woman in the face. And then there's another contingent that has a serious problem with that, and they're a little upset. They're not so upset that they're picking up their guns, but they're pretty fucking upset. And then see, the mind control is, well, if you think that, armed masked men shouldn't shoot white women in the face, then you must be a fucking liberal. Fucking liberal. That's all. First off, insulting. Second off, I understand the mind control. Me not fucking liberal. Me not even Republican or Democrat. Me American. Me Illinoisan. I have one son with a 5-star passport and another son that's about to remedy the fact that he only has 4. Okay, we're not sovereign citizens. We woke up. We moved. Where do we move to? Well, we moved out of this fictitious thing that you can't even find anywhere. There are scholars for years trying to find United States. Where is it? It's in Washington, D.C. Okay, cool. Where in Washington, D.C. is the United States? And then go look where, I found, see, I'll get in trouble. But the idea is I went and searched for where is state of Hawaii? Where is the clerk of the court for the judicial? That's a strip mall and there's no government office there. But there's an address here. Oh, it's not the same. Oh, post office might be in on it. See, there's this thing called the prudent man rule. And prudent man rule says, and this is what 3 step process is all about. That any prudent man would say you gave them every opportunity to respond and they stood silent when they should have responded. Or if there is some kind of controversy where they actually responded, but it's a non-response, where like you said, what time is it? And they say purple. That's not a response. Okay, I'm not talking about the time and there's no colors, but you know what I mean. When you whatever your issue is, I had one where they didn't give me. I performed the actions that they required of me. Oh, I should do this. I'll make a whole other video, um, with regard to Facebook and libel, and them being so incompetent that they've libeled me. Anyway, and it's a slam dunk. And see, it's just going to be 3-period process. I don't have to go to court. I don't have to sue them. I'm not going to go I'm just going to make some claims upon which relief can be granted according to their statutes. And I have status and standing. The attorney, in fact, the agent has standing on the land, and the in legis, the sole proprietorship, the person, the individual, the one with the social security number associated with it, that guy also state citizen with a whole bunch of rights. See, the idea is you got to let them know that you moved, because they assume that that guy has an address with a zip code that places him in United States. They're assuming that the sole proprietorship is an employee or a dependent or an officer. They got you on a couple of counts there, actually, because if you're a voter, you are holding the office. It's the lowest office in the corporation. If you're taking benefits, well, then you're dependent on the corporation also. And if you're filling out a tax form, you're telling them that you're an employee. You're all three. I'm none of that. But I never let them know for 57 fucking years. They were taking money from a 14-year-old kid. Completely fucking ignorant. I thought I was an American and I had saluted the flag and I had pledged allegiance to the flag and I was American and we was the best country in the whole wide world. Everybody want to be an American and I'm an American. Oops. As soon as I got my driver's license, I became a U.S. citizen who is no longer an American, but volunteering to become a U.S. citizen. And all those state rights that I had that were given to me acknowledged the fact that they came to me from God. That truth held to be self-evident. No need argued. No, there's no controversy. And with a stroke of a pen and complete and utter ignorance, I signed away all those rights so that I could get a license, so that I could drive, so I could go to a job, so they could take money from me. Every hour on the hour, they got some. That's the way to do it. They tell you in all the books about becoming financially independent, you don't want 100% of one man's labor, you want 1% of 100 men's labor. And they got you up to like 50 fucking percent. And still you don't protest. Well, taxes are the responsibility of the man because there's a social contract, and it's what we have to pay for the living in a free society, and it's the social contract, and yeah. How about no? I keep my labor because I'm not your property. I'm not your employee. And you were naughty when you tricked me into it, and fraud voids everything. Fraud, what is it? Oh, I used to know it in Latin. But it's void ab initio. Void ab initio means it's from the beginning. From the moment there was fraud, which was the second you tricked people into signing documents that they didn't know what they were when their baby came into the world. Yeah, that was fraud ab initio. And fraud vitiates all. Fraud vitiates everything. All contracts vitiated by fraud, and every fucking contract is fraudulent. How is it fraudulent? Omission, error, mistake. outright non-disclosure. Fuckery, where they absolutely make you try to think it's one thing when it actually it's another. And then like fucking teenagers when they trick you. Okay, so the bottom line here is share this one. I'll go put beneath this, which will get me in trouble because there's already being told that no, but yes, you need to know this information. So I put it all in one place. You got to do it's directed discovery. We're not doing anything for you right now. There is a web page which is just look up Crouton Ramon and go scroll down till you hit the 5-star tab. Click that tab and it will take you to all the links you need to at least get you started with a 5-star passport, where you start freeing your mind and realizing that you need to move. And when you move, you need to tell people that you moved. You can't just move. So there's paperwork to be done. And I had a whole video on what paperwork needed to be done, and they fucking took it down. So there's your clue. You got to know what I know and more, because certainly I don't know everything. And you got to be able to put it into practice. And I know enough to get my son's 5-star passports. I know enough to do. I know I have a little. What is it? One that has a little information can be dangerous to himself. I've been warned this numerous times. So you need a lot of information. You need to study. My boy is studying hours per day. He sends me Bible quotes, and he sends me USC, and then he sends me UCC, and he sends me all kind of stuff. And then he sends me little quips and so forth, letting me understand that, yeah, if you want to be standing on land, you need to be, and there's a little rhyme, and I don't remember what it is, but it's if you need to be de jure, if you're going to be standing on land. I don't know. That's see, it doesn't rhyme. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, but the idea is, and then you got to let them know that you know, so that they know you know. And then you got to be non-belligerent, non-combatant, peaceful, not harmless, because that's why you want that Second Amendment. You don't want to be harmless, but you want to be peaceful. You don't want to have to engage. And you need to tell them, yeah, I understand the concept of the square and staying on it. I will cause no harm. I will not disturb the peace. I will cause no loss. If I do cause loss, I will try to make it good as a Christian. And not only make it good, more than make it good. And there's a prescription in this book right here for how much more you got to make it good. And then the last thing is no fucking mischiefs in your contracts. Your word is your bond. That's it. That's your square. Stay on your square. And they're going to do everything they can to drag you off your square. Ooh, they tried to drag me off my square. They couldn't do it. So they put my square in forced association with others, but they still couldn't drag me off my square, and it pissed them off. And then they had to finally stick me back out here. But see, I had to prove I could stand on my square, because if I didn't stand on my square, I'd still be inside talking to criminals. But what they were trying to do, and the criminals there explained it to me in no uncertain terms, is they were trying to get me a street charge or killed by placing me with Mid and Max. These are men that have killed other men. And one of my favorites, because it's just like out of a Western or something. I never killed nobody that didn't deserve it. We killed them, they deserved it. We're fucking gangsters. I mean, we're not fucking Hollywood gangsters. We're real gangsters. And sometimes guys do shit, and it's not a hot one. You got to kill them because they broke the code, and they got a code, and they enforce the code. And the other guys don't like it when they enforce their own codes. And a lot of times they can't do anything about it. Go take a look right here in Phoenix, how much unsolved murders there are, and how much missing there are, and how much kids are missing here in just Maricopa County. well, county of Maricopa, but I mean here on the land in this city known as Phoenix, it's better than a lot of places. But if you do a little digging, but I'll tell you what, commerce is going on here. That mall was looking good. Many stores were missing, but you would never know. And there were plenty of people in the mall. Plenty of people. They weren't buying silver, they were buying stuff. I mean, if you go to a restaurant here on a Friday night, most restaurants have business. And you know which restaurants are good because they're got people in them. The empty ones maybe you want to avoid. But there's all manner of Asian restaurants that are actually pretty damn good. There's a freaking Cambodian restaurant here that's quite tasty. Mom does the cooking and son does the serving, and it's a little hole in the wall, and it's freaking delicious. And then there's, people eating out. I've never been out to a restaurant where it was empty, even when we're just trying out some place. How come? Because there's money here. Commerce is still going on here. People can DoorDash fucking ice cream to their door here because they have money. Other places, not so much. Why? Because it's a red state. And when they're prosperous, what do? They come to the red state and harvest as much money as possible. California used to be a red state, well known for Republicans. What's that? Orange County? Yeah, they're orange, but they're red. Okay. California is super prosperous. What do the Democrats do? Move in there and siphon as much wealth as possible. What's going on in Minnesota is going on in every state, including Arizona, probably more here in Arizona to the point where they got to the governorship. And they're extracting billions of wealth, but there's so much wealth here. This economy is still going. Meantime, San Francisco, not so much. Meantime, many Democrat cities, not so much. Chicago, hurting. Seattle, hurting. Portland, hurting. But here, other than the fact that the real estate market is about to take a healthy dump because prices were so high and there were so many immigrants, border crossers, others. And they're trying to say that, oh, ICE isn't operating here. They're operating here. They're just not operating here like they're operating in Minnesota. They're not doing theater here. They're just quietly picking people up and taking them out. And people know that they're coming. So a lot of them are taking the $1,000, now $2,600, I believe, is they're going to raise it to. Tell you what, we'll give you $1,000. Go home. And they're doing it. And there's plenty of stories. Once in a while, you'll see it. I'm scrolling on Facebook, or I'll see it someplace else, wherein we have an ICE raid on a restaurant, and they get 13 guys, which tells you a story right there. But anyway, the idea is that a lot of restaurants having difficulty because many of their workers, and now Trump is holding the guys that hired the illegals to account also. But they're just not being so flamboyant about it here. But anyway, the bottom line is you go look on Zillow and you can see I've never seen so damn many apartments and houses and so forth for rent because everybody left. One, a lot of people left after the whole thing that where people were moving out of other states that were being stupid. And now they're moving back because they don't like the summer because it does get hot here. And two, the people that were here crossing the border and receiving stipends from the government and renting houses are returning to their countries of origin, leaving lots of vacancies. And the prices have definitely come down. Like, you don't, simple research, go look on Zillow. And then the other thing that's happening is home prices are holding. They're down like 5-10%, but they're not down like 50%. They're not down by half, but that could be coming. And interest rates are going to go up, and that's going to cause issues because we can't service the debt. But see, it's going to get to the point now where you're going to be able to take $100,000 and get a decent return, like an 8% return that's quote unquote safe. They had it to the point where you had $100,000, you might get like, 1/4%, 0.75%. Okay, why save your money? Why not put it in something else, which is the whole point. They don't want you saving, they want you putting your money into the markets that they can rig so they can take it from you because you're hoping to get a better return. Okay, and they rig all the markets, but they had been rigging the silver market, and now the physical silver market has exposed them, and this exposure is gonna affect everybody, all the humans, all the humans, but especially the humans on North American continent, but also the humans in Europe and the humans in Russia and all over the whole place. Everybody's gonna be affected by this. The Koreans, the Japanese, the Chinese, everybody. But I guarantee you that the market being exposed and the lying liars being exposed in the silver market is not gonna stop international commerce around the world. People are still gonna wanna trade with each other. There's still gonna be wealthy people. There's still gonna be people that have more money than God that wanna buy whatever it is. So the commerce doesn't come to a screeching halt just because silver, right? Okay, but because we always do commerce. Even if it turns black market, we're still going to be doing commerce. And what has happened now is that people are starting to realize that yeah, we really, really got dependent on that middleman. Because, like I said, I can't take a piece of silver. Here's my imaginary piece of silver, and go to Costco and spend my imaginary piece of silver. And if I had a real silver coin in my hand, I couldn't take it there either. I have to first take my piece of silver and turn it into pieces of paper, and then I can go to Costco and promise to pay because I live in clown world. And I gotta tell you one more time, turn the money like this and think about it. There's Exeter's pyramid. See that eye right down there? Yeah, that's gold and silver. And all that BS, all those derivatives and all that crypto and all that stuff, bonds, stupid stocks and silly meme coins and all that stuff is going to head to real money, which is gold and silver. And you see how big this is? The bugger no fit. You see this thing right here? The bugger no fit. Oh, wait, move the. Oh, got the wrong finger going on here. Because everything's backwards. Okay, that one right there. Yeah. See how big that is? See how small that is? This does not fit into there without the price of silver and gold going sky high, much higher, because all of that, trillions now, this is now representative of trillions, is going down here where it's tens and hundreds of millions. This is trillions and maybe even quadrillions, and it's going to collapse down into right now. It's I mean, gold is a huge market, but silver is a tiny market. And when all that, we'll see what happens. Like I said, Von Mises wrote a book. Go read it if you want to. I'm gonna read this one. It's a thin book, but anyway. Oh, and there was another one you might want to read. Not this one. Oh shoot, not this one either. What'd I do with it? This is one you probably want to. This actually is good, and it starts off the old-fashioned way, where all the terms they're going to use in the book are defined. So since it's talking about admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, they define all the words right in the beginning, because that's what the book's about. And so they don't want you reading the book without knowing what the words mean, even though that's what you do all the time, is just read books and you think you know what the words mean, and then it turns out you don't know what the words mean, and then they trap you, and then they extract wealth from you. It's over there, and I don't feel like walking over there to get it. But anyway, it's King James. Our buddy King James has written a book. You know this one. Oh, wait, is it there? Yes, it is there. It just happened to be hiding underneath the pile. You know this one. You know King James compiled this one, but you didn't know he compiled this one. You might want to read this one. Just yeah, same guy, same dude, that wrote this one. Yeah, might want to put these two together and read them. Just saying. This is a suggestion. And then once you start figuring out that we might have different names for these guys, you start realizing this woman right here I am actually impressed. Mormon woman, educated Mormon woman, and she figured out that these guys, these lying liars who have been lying about silver, yeah. Okay, and it's not crazy. Bro, this is not a thin book. And she does her freaking research. And she does her research. And then she does her research. I can't recommend this thing more. And she lets you know, yeah, it's them. It's our adversary doing the illusionist thing. They're grand illusionists. Babylonian money magic is an illusion. But anyway, this is tremendously interesting because it's them. And then understand that them has technology that they've only released. AI isn't new. Nothing is happening for the first time. I want you to go meditate on that. Nothing is happening for the first time. You see that pregnant pause? Because nothing is happening for the first time. Different scenarios in different vessels, in different places, in different times, but it's the same guys, and their AI technology is pretty much omniscient. Can be everywhere at once, listening for keywords. And then if it's important enough, and I suppose I should be flattered, maybe a human would listen. But overall, it's just machines, and they, hacking up your credit score and your social credit, and how mind washed is this guy? Is he a threat? Because the thing is, they wouldn't be, if they were beneficent instead of malevolent, they wouldn't be concerned. But when people wake up, they also figure out, wait a second, these guys are involved in the most peculiar institution, and they are trafficking not only live flesh, but body parts, and oh my God, blood. And it looks like some of these monkeys, and they're not monkeys, actually dying on us. And we hate to be part of the food chain because they look like us, but they're not like us. And they eat us. And they only, and that sounds like crazy talk. Cannibalism, the Caligula class. But they take so few because there's a billion of us. Well, 8 billion of us. They only take in a few thousand. Like, 80,000 Black women disappear every year. And it's actually, the number is much higher, but they figure out that, if you use the higher numbers, then you get into the fact that many missing persons, they weren't missing. They were just, left their phone or didn't check in, and then they, they're found within 3 days. But then there's the ones that are never found. They just disappear. And then it turns out that, yeah, the procurement thing was the thing. They had copped to it. And for all kind of things, government programs, the experiments, they just, take from the masses. And then we totally don't want to admit that there are those that are worshiping, right? That's where they gets off the deep end. They can't believe it that these guys who are fiercely religious are still among us and practicing their rites. And their rites require blood and virgins and all kind of crazy shit. Insane shit. These people are insane. I don't care what they're not. They happen to have power, but they're still absolutely fucking insane. And they're so insane they can get others to do insane things like, I'm a woman. I decided I'm a woman. I'm gonna use the women's bathroom from now on. And I'm not playing along with that. Try not to use the women's bathroom when my woman is in the bathroom, because I will cause you harm. Again, if there was more of that, not less of that, we wouldn't have any issues. But these people are insane. Like I said, insane. Oh, yeah, men can have babies. Oh, we don't even know what a woman is when you get down to it. They got like a bonus hole in their, chest feeders. Okay, there's a definite war on why is there a war on women? Is because how we get here. No one gets here without the permission of a woman, and they don't understand the vehicle that they are. Very special. But we take it for granted because there's 8 billion of us. But think about it, they bring in the others into physical form. And then that child belongs the son or daughter belongs to the father, according to their law. And they've turned that on its head. And then many men have started to figure, wait a second. Even Pope Leo says so. And anyway, what is it? It's I have it right here by chance. His Holiness Pope Paul VI on December 7th gave us this. This is the pastoral. See, my son sent me this, and this thing is huge and long, written on December 7th, 1965, and I haven't got to it because it goes on for days. But there's another one from Pope Leo talking about the children, the sons and daughters are the property of the father. And this is the thing, they got you saying, it's not property. The intangible right to raise these children the way you want that's an intangible right. And one that you sign away when you sign your name to get the driver's license or or voter registration or the birth certificate or the marriage certificate or the bank account. Suddenly now the state says, no, we will administer the product of your marriage, and we have more claim on that child than you do because you've stood silent and you're incompetent. How are you going to have and be responsible for children if you're incompetent yourself? And how do we know you're incompetent? Well, you never told us you weren't because you didn't know what paperwork needed to be done. So you have to educate yourself and then educate others. E pluribus unum. Paperwork to be done. And see, some of my paperwork is going out shortly. But they can't, because it's given by my hand, they don't have keystrokes to record. So it may be a surprise. Okay. I can't think of anything else other than warn your friends. Everything is about to change. I'm serious. And prepare yourself. What I've been telling you about is coming to pass. What the Austrians warned you about is coming to pass. The guys that can do math are warning you. When silver gets into the $1,000 range, even before it gets into the $1,000 range, things could break apart. Things are already breaking apart. The signs are everywhere. Everywhere you look, there you can't keep up with all the stories from all around the world because it's now a world market. But that's the good thing. We're gonna wind up, cutting out the middleman and transacting among each other, and it's gonna be abundant, and there's gonna be silver, and then there's gonna be those that don't have silver. And then there's gonna be those that, perish because they don't have food. That's always been a thing. They've always used food as a weapon. Why would it be any different this time? Hopefully, they don't, and if they do, you're prepared. It doesn't affect you if you have food. But if you don't have any, and yeah, that's gonna be problematic because hunger, I understand, is the worstest way to die, and they have done it in Africa and China and many other places where they literally starved populations. They did it in Ireland and lied about it. There was plenty of food, they just didn't let the people have it. They were sending meat and all manner of produce to England because they had been raped so badly by the British Empire, and there was nothing left for the peasants, and they didn't care, they let them starve. Okay, these people are not loved by any people that know their history, and now they're getting ganged up on. And you know what the cool thing is? We're not even here yet, but we're gonna get here soon. So you know what? I'm not doing it. I prefer liberal cheers anyway. Oh, look, the threefold path. Maybe you want to look at the Trivium page at Crouton House of Math. There it is. And see, why this side more big? Because this is the quadrivium over here. But anyway, we're not going there. Educate yourself, educate others. E pluribus unum, crime stuffers. We got good times coming, or maybe not. And I did hear this. I'll leave you with this. Treat yourself when pop a bottle. Go have a nice dinner. Go buy something stupid, or maybe not stupid, something you've been needing. Don't sell all your silver. Just all right. We've hit a milestone. You were right. They were wrong. And now you celebrate a little bit and continue on. Because I guarantee you, all these machinations in the market has no effect on. I just smile. I don't have the gut because I'm not trying to trade it. Like I said, everybody said, don't go short, or you'll have nothing to celebrate with. But if you sit long and understand some mathematics and understand the law of the parabola, we are headed toward what the Muggles think is astronomical territory from here. Probably 10 times, at least 10 times. And we're not going to do it all at once, but we're going to do one of it and probably some of it in a disorderly way, fits and starts, and then it will continue more. And this is going to go on for like 10 years. All right. So what you want to do is make sure that you take advantage and you don't, you're not suffering. You celebrate along the way. Next milestone, 200, sell a little more, just a little. And then the next milestone, you sell a little more. And then the next milestone, you say, you never go broke taking profits. Never. So treat yourself when it hits 100, or maybe now. But I think you're going to find you may have difficulty selling your coin, but just for a little while. Okay, because pretty soon you're going to be demanding your price because it's unobtainium. It will become unobtainium. All right. E pluribus unum, crime stoppers. Educate self, educate others. And I'll talk to you soon.